Hello and welcome to race day. This is our first race with the Ginetta G55 in the GT4 class. We're going to be racing at the Interlagos Grand Prix circuit. We've got a practice which is longer than it's going to look like, so it's down for a 1.5 hour practice, but I'm going to skip it as soon as I've got done what I need to get done. Then we've got a 10-minute qualifying, and then we're going into the race. And it's going to be starting at 6 o'clock in the evening, going into, so it's already going to be quite dark going into it. It's going to be a 1 hour race because I want to get some degree of learning about tyre wear and that sort of stuff in as well. So it's going to be an hour race starting at 6 o'clock in the evening on the 23rd of June 2024. So it's the same date that we did the AI calibration. We've got real weather, a rolling start because it's GT4s. We've got a default progressing circuit and all the other stuff shouldn't matter for us today. Our opponents will be 117 AI skill level. We've got a 0.8 wet skill scaler, so I've done that same AI calibration for the wet. They're very, very fast. I don't know if it's me very, very slow or them very, very fast, but it had to be 0.8, which is really low compared to what I'm used to, certainly with the front wheel drive stuff, so that's quite interesting. We're all same class, so it's all GT4s. Just want to keep it nice and simple today, but as many as we can get in there, and with AI mistakes at ×2. Now, if all you come here for is the race, I will leave a timestamp in the description where you can just jump straight to the qualifying results and or the race. So, without further ado, I'll get into practice with you, and when we're at trackside, I'll explain why I'm doing a little bit of practice. We'll see you in a second. Right, so here we are in practice. Now, the reason I'm going to show you a little bit of practice is because when we were doing the second day test and when I was doing the AI calibration, the rear of the car was still unstable entering the slower corners whilst trail braking, and that bugged me, and I got thinking about it. I've slept on it, and I was thinking, actually, I wonder if I've had a false positive with the reduction in the rear diff preload. So I want to try running that higher, and then maybe see if I can get a couple more tweaks in there just very, very quickly, just to get the rear of the car more settled in that trail braking phase for the race, because also the car's going to be a lot heavier as well, so if it starts to slide, I'm not going to stop it. So that's a race, that's a showstopper really for me. So I need to get that, I need to get it sorted, otherwise I'm at real risk for the whole race. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here. I'm not going to bother doing a base run. I'm quite happy to know that it's there. I'm going to put in 72 litres. I think 72 will give me just a little bit extra than I need. I think I really need about 68 or 70, but I'm going to put in race fuel, so I don't want to waste too much of your time. And I'm going to increase the rear diff, well, the diff preload to 260. And I think for now that will do for the moment. There might be a couple more adjustments to come, but for now that will be fine. Now, it's not a true fair test because obviously we haven't run it with this level of fuel before, but I'm quite mindful that, you know, I don't want to just spend my entire life testing and you not seeing any racing. So, and this is over and above what I was expecting to do, but I don't know, it didn't sit right with me that there was something, it felt like I missed something and I wasn't happy. And then as soon as I got it in my mind that, actually, you know what, you might have misjudged that diff preload change, might have been a false positive. So, and it's important, I mean, it's a very important part of testing is to verify what you've done. You can't just go on first impressions, you have to go back, you have to revisit. So in that respect, it's a good thing to show you. You don't. It's not just like, right, cool, fantastic, I'm off, see you later. It's, you know, you change one thing, and it might feel fine, and then you change something else, and it might then have the, you know, it might then negate the previous change that felt so good. However, in this case, I think I've just got it wrong. But let's just build this up. Not worried about lap times here at all. It's a very shiny car, isn't it? Oh, it feels very, very heavy with the extra fuel in it. Doesn't help, we're still on relatively cold tyres, so not quite ready to really lean on it yet. And that's not because I'm nervous about it, I just don't want to look like an idiot, and at the same time, you know, it would be an unfair test to do that. That was me on the curb there. Yeah, so as soon as I've got done what I want to get done, I'm gonna just skip to end of this session and get straight into qualifying. And I won't bother showing you the qualifying lap, you know what that's going to look like. We'll just show you the results at the end of it. But I wanted you to see this bit because I feel it's important. We've gone to the trouble of, you know, if you've gone to the trouble of watching 2 days worth of testing, it would have been unfair on you to then just go and do that work in private and not share it with you, and then just jump into the race and go, oh yeah, I'll change this and that, and this is why. It wouldn't. I think I'd have felt like I'd have cheated you out of the experience of why it was done and what I was looking for, and also seeing the effect of it as well. Right, let's give this a bit of a push. It's still there, even just a little bit. It's not... I don't think it's as bad as it was though. Right, okay. So I think I just got my theory wrong. My theory at the time was that I wanted the rear wheels to be working more independently of each other, but actually I think I needed to flip that logic around. I think I needed to say that the more connected the two rear wheels are, the outside wheel, the one that's got the grip, is then going to be basically dragging the inside wheel to prevent it from locking. And I think that's what's happening. I think that the inside wheel is starting to lock, and then because it can work independently, it's then locking and swinging the rear of the car around. Whereas I think with the tighter rear diff, I think it's actually preventing that rear wheel from locking so early. But I don't want to go too far with it, because if I go too far with it, the car will get really lazy to turn and very, very difficult to rotate on the apex. So I don't really want to go much further than 250 Newton meters. That's already, sorry, 260. That's already quite a way. So I think I'm gonna increase the slow bump. Well, the front. I'm going to increase the front damping. Let's just, if I take away slow bump, slow rebound, we'll call it bump damping, rebound damping on the front. So if I increase the bump damping on the front, that'll slow down the rate at which the weight goes forwards. I'm going to reduce the rebound a bit. That will also increase the rate that the weight goes rearwards as well. So that will help it on the throttle a little bit. I'm going to increase the rear rebound damping. That will slow the rate that the rear of the car lifts under brakes, so that will help keep the weight essentially on the rear for a little bit longer, which might help that inside rear wheel stay weighted. And in the interest of just getting this done, I'm also going to increase the front anti-roll bar as well. So I think that will help when it's, because it's when I'm trail braking. So I'm already starting to turn, so the weight is going onto the outside front wheel, which is then compressing. So the anti-roll bar should help prevent that inside of the front of the car lift under brakes. So it should help keep weight across the opposite corner. So the outside wheel, the outside front wheel, the weight will actually go across the car to the opposite corner, which is the inside rear wheel, and help keep that weighted for a little bit better. That's my theory. That's what I'm working on. So let's give that a go. While I'm at it, I'm also going to reduce these brake ducts as well, because I think they are too big. Yeah, right, let's give that a go. Just going to do another 3 laps. Hopefully we'll see that as an improvement. And then we'll get into the qualifying results and then straight into the race. And let's go and have some fun, shall we? Yeah. Yeah, for those that tuned in just for a race, easy Tiger. Oh, hello. No, after you, sir. Drives like a Mercedes driver. Now these things, if they work today, they might still end up being developed out of the setup later on. If they work, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're right. You have to be open-minded. You can't just assume that, oh well, I did it, therefore it's, you know, it's better. Just because it got the job done doesn't necessarily mean it's the best solution. Hopefully some of these guys will be pitting. Whoa! Alright, watch out for that. He's coming in the pits. Come on, mate. That was relatively stable, but we'll see how it is on the next lap when they've got a bit more heat in there. Yeah, so notice there that even in practice he's done a 38.0, the fastest guy. So they share, I think, skill level for practice and qualifying. Much more stable there, wasn't it? It looked. Hopefully it's not a false dawn. Just do one more lap just to verify it a bit better. But it just started to back in there a little bit on that lap, just into there. But I was on the curb. To be fair to it, I was on the curb when I was braking, so no, it's still doing it. What am I missing? I mean, admittedly, it wasn't as aggressive as it had been, but right, okay. Increase the brake bias. Let's go to 66. Increase ABS. Sorry, I'm just going to do one more lap. Because that's going to make the race very, very awkward. Still, to be in 5th place with 65 litres of fuel on board. Where are you going? I was a bit ginger on the brakes then. Okay, well, I think that's livable. I think it's going to have to wait for another test day. Yep. I don't think I found a solution yet. There's work to do here. Good though, you know. Let's see what we learn in the race. Maybe the race will reveal some more information that gets us where we want to be. Let's just get straight to the pits. Yeah, so maybe the race will reveal a bit more and maybe provide us some clues as to the real answer for it. Right, I'll leave it there. Let's get into the qualifying results and from there into the race. We'll see you in a second. Right, rolling start. Not used to these. Couldn't really squeeze him any more than I did there. Thanks mate, cheers for the space. Am I just being really nice here or something? How have you got so much grip? Got some speed, haven't they? See if the Camaro catches us up. Oops. Get off that curb, Andrew. Ooh, I rear got very light there. Do you know what though? Yeah, it did it right on the downshift. I wonder if our issue with the rear end is me downshifting too early. Ooh. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? I'm used to front wheel drive, I'm used to being able to smash the gears. But rear wheel drive, that's going to screw you over. Let's try downshifting earlier. Yes. I think that's my problem. Yeah. Right when I shifted down. Right. Excuse me. Ooh, closer than I'd like. A little bit of a frame rate drop at the moment. Sorry if that's coming through on the video. Well, we're pulling a gap on the guys behind us anyway. smooth. Wrong side, Andrew. I thought the Ginetta was going to go for it then. I thought about it. Wouldn't have been a clever idea though, would it? I wonder if it's worth conserving at this point. Not a very good exit there. Bit tentative.com. So we're sort of mid-38s, aren't we? Which is a fair pace, really. Have a look at what the oil temperature and pressure is doing. When I don't need to look at the track. Oh, that's nice. 112. Sweet. I guess it being evening is only going to help that. I didn't actually note what the air and track temperature was at the start of the race. But bearing in mind we're right up the exhaust pipe of other cars and have been for the whole race, for it to be running at in the mid 110s, I think we're about right, really. It's off there. Just because he can do it doesn't mean to say you can, Andrew. Thou shalt not covet the other car's curb handling abilities. Easy. Get off there. So we're actually mid 39s, aren't we? Because we're looking at the lap chart there. I actually feel like I've got the pace to beat these guys, but I'm a little bit nervous about going for an overtake, because I think that their pace is also, I think they're not going as quick as they could either. I think they're just having some fun. Now, the other Ginetta is still there, but it's dropped back a bit, hasn't it? Excuse me. Gonna have to be in the middle of the lap, isn't it? It's gonna have to be sector 2. Oh, this might be it. This. Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, he's run wide. He's run wide. Done me a bit of a favour. Yes, me and the circuit have a bit of a history in that I tend to come out of the last corner on the last lap in first and then cross the line in second. And you know what? I could see this happening again, because these Mercedes are quicker than my car. They pull away even when I'm in their tow. So, unless I've got a big enough gap on the last lap, it's not going to happen. And I'm not going to weave and do horrible things. I'm not going to race unfairly. Ooh. Oh. Easy. Yeah, they definitely hold the ace cards because they can park it on the apex and there's nothing I can do about it, and then just fire it out to the next braking zone and then park it on the apex again. And there is really very little I can do about it. It's not a gap, mate. That's not a gap. Oi, leave the paintwork. Easy. Yeah, if I stay out of his toe as much as I can, look at the gap he's pulling. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to stop that on the last lap if I'm in the lead. That's if I'm even in the lead, of course, but assuming, I have to assume I am, and plan for it. There's certainly no point coming out of the last corner in second anyway. I have to remember the bonnet is a lot longer than the old Mini. Already there, chap. Already there. Idiots. Double idiot. Ugh. not close enough. So the old switcheroo and the left-hander doesn't really work that well. Sorry. Sorry. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Ah! Yes! I don't think we crossed the line first then. Oh man. Jesus. Why do I see history repeating itself here on this circuit for me? Not the greatest exit there. I was quite late getting back on the throttle at the apex. I think I need to be a bit more assertive. Yeah, have some of that, mate. Just stick your nose up the inside. I'll wipe it off. You see it a lot actually, where people they'll just stick their nose up the inside and just sort of leave it there. The move isn't really on, but they then sort of make you have to reposition yourself for fear of an accident. Well, I say accident, it wouldn't be an accident because it's through their aggression and their poor racecraft, but yeah, I think of it like bullying, really. You can't afford to step back if you're being bullied. Easy. I don't want to speak too soon, but we've got a little bit of a gap right now. We'll see how that lasts. Just try and keep it smooth. I don't want to burn the front tyres out, because they're going to wear out more than the rears, looking at the temperatures. They're certainly working harder anyway than the rears are. Yeah, nice, sensible laps. That's what we need here. Now, it hasn't escaped me that qualifying pace they were on par with me. Race pace they're a bit down, it seems. I might be a bit early to judge that, but the pace has been quite comfortable in this race. But then I suppose we did see that in the minis, didn't we? We'd qualify sort of 7th, 8th, 9th and have an advantage in the race. So maybe I just need to offset that AI pace by 1, which puts us at 118. Oops, a bit too early. Yeah, I never thought I'd be on 118. Not at this stage. But still a long way to go yet. We're only just over halfway through. Very cool. We found out about the gear change timing. That downshift timing is that it's down to me. Kind of makes perfect sense really, because I changed loads of stuff on the setup, and it was still there, wasn't it? So it kind of makes sense that it's a driving technique issue. And I'm absolutely fine with that. You know, I don't really have an ego that can be bruised in this class, because I don't know anything. You know, I've just... Yeah, I've got so much to learn. Oh, I should mention actually. So, I spoke to Mark Collins about the brake ducts and had that conversation with him after the test day 2 video came out, and he saw that test with the 100% brake ducts versus the 40% brake ducts. He saw that differently to me. So at some point we will revisit that and we'll do a more in-depth analysis on the effects that it can have and in what conditions. Missed that one a little bit. Yeah, we'll do that. Because I don't want to underline something and it still have a question mark on it. And in that video I did kind of underline it, so I think I need to rub that one out, and then yeah, instead pencil in another test session that focuses on that. I need to get my head down a little bit because they're closing up, and look at there's a big old train of cars. Okay, so they're back on us again now. They're so fast. Not quite sure where I was going there, but so this guy's got some real pace in him, hasn't he? So he may actually pull away from us a little bit here. Because although I was gas bagging, I don't think there was a whole lot more in the tank. Not really. Not with that risk. and I'd like to finish this race. Even if it means finishing second, I still prefer to finish this race. I should turn the lights down really, shouldn't I? It's a bit unfair to be blinding him. Easy. Oh. Wally. Still, avoided damage. That's the main thing. Sorry. A bit further along this time, aren't we? Yep. Can we hold it across the line? Ooh, the front end's starting to go a little bit. I'm losing a bit of front end grip. That's not good. I've been looking after it as well. Frame rate's dropped again. It's annoying because it makes it a bit jaggedy. I mean, the tyres are barely touched, are they? When you look at them. So why have I lost so much front end grip? They're still running in the 90s. They're at a lovely temperature, really. So why are they so low on grip? Because it's the rears as well. I've just generally lost grip. Is it track conditions maybe? It's getting quite dark now. But it's not like it's, you know, it's only like 7:15. It's not like it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, clearly we're not going to be pulling away, are we? So I'm not going to overreach. I mean, we've still got control of this race, so whilst we have got control, we're going to conserve a little bit. Right, let's have a dry run of this run to the line. Well, we won that one. Easy, get off. He will keep doing that half-hearted move into there. And I will keep chopping his nose off. Ooh. Put the big lights on, the grown-up lights. They're very fast into there, aren't they? Have to watch for that on the last lap, if we're still in this position. They do seem to get a bit more aggressive in the last few laps, so that's something to watch out for. And they also seem to ramp their pace up a little bit as well. Well, they certainly seem to in the JCWs anyway, and in the Copa. It just seems to be able to turn it up a little bit for the last few minutes of the race. A bit late on turn, isn't it? Gonna make you vulnerable. We're sort of trying to keep the pace up so that the Ginetta behind is not being attacked by the Merc, because I'd rather have the Ginetta behind me than the Merc. But I'd like to think that if I'm struggling for tyre wear, the Merc must be awful. I mean, this car is... surely it's better on its tyres than the Merc is. Excuse me. It's off. Come on, turn. Come on, Ramos. Let's get this done, shall we? Changed down a bit too early there. Felt the rear of the car start to get loose. Ah, that was an awful first corners. Don't send it, mate. Don't send it. Mate, look, we're doing a good job here. Don't ruin it. You make me start defending, we're both going to lose here. Really struggling with the car now. But I wouldn't say I'm struggling any more than anybody else. I think we're all struggling equally. Tyre temps are still nice, aren't they? Oh dear, the other Ginetta's dropped back into the clutches of the Mercedes now. I wouldn't put it past them to still be able to close that gap. Need good clean laps here. Dear, the Ginetta's been swallowed up. How many laps have we got to go? We've got 3 laps to go, haven't we? Bollocks. They're going to be on me, I think. Right, just keep doing what you're doing, Andy. That's all you can do. Control the controllables. Avoid doing that if you can. Right, penultimate lap. It's a bit risky. It's 2 laps in a row you've messed that corner up, Andrew. They're very fast. They're closing the gap. No one's taking this away from us this time. Fantastic. Well done. Oh man, that was a brilliant race. Oof. The other Ginetta finished 5th in the end. Oh dear. Right, let's have a look at the times. Ooh. Right, let's skip the cool down lap. So we got it by 0.8 of a second in the end. It was close between the two Mercedes, look. We did a 38.4. 38.8, 4, 4, 9, 9, 8, 8, 39.0. Yeah. So maybe the AI, I mean, well, the AI strength wasn't that bad, was it? It was pretty close. So yeah. Right. I'm going to go and sleep on this, and I'm going to do the summary tomorrow. But for you, I'll see you in a second. So here we are. It's the next day. Just for continuity's sake, I've put the same stinky jumper back on. That's the kind of dedication you can expect from such a quality channel as this. I've got to say, I'm really pleased with this race. It went really well. It was the product of preparation, really, I would say, this race. Without all of that foundational work we'd done leading up to this wouldn't have gone anywhere near as smoothly as that. It was a very tough race from the start. Really close race, right from from lights to flag. There was no let up at all. It's the kind of racing I really love, and it's the kind of racing I've got used to with the slower classes, with the Copa Mini and with the JCW as well. I've always found the AMS AI to, when set correctly and calibrated correctly, provide racing just like this. And it's really nice that I've come up to a faster class and I've had the same experience, which is really cool. The AI balancing was great. The work we've done there to calibrate it was spot on, it seems. During the race I thought, maybe it should have been 118 for this race, but then at the end of the race the AI came back and we only won it by 0.8 of a second, over an hour. So and there wasn't much meat left on the bones from my side of things, so I couldn't have done much more, I don't think, not with the current information I have and knowledge I have and skills I have in this class anyway. So yeah, I mean, if I was doing a 6-hour endurance race, I would definitely want it back 1 point. I couldn't sustain that for another 5 hours. Well, not and enjoy it either. It would have been very stressful. And I know racing's meant to be, stressing yourself, but I'm not a professional. I'm not getting paid for this. I want to enjoy it. So I want to actually have fun with the racing. So if that means taking the top off my ego a little bit and knocking it back 1 extra point, then that's what I'm going to do. I was a little bit concerned about coming up to the GT4 class, because it's it's quicker than JCW. It's not hugely quicker. It's not a massive jump, but it is a jump by a good sort of 5-6 seconds a lap, I would say. But it's the car, it's the car structure. It's the front engine rear wheel drive. It's just not what I drive, and it was a bit of a concern, to the point where I was actually a little bit nervous about this starting the race, because I wanted to do it on the first go. I didn't want to have multiple takes to try and make the perfect looking race. I wanted it to be like the testing has been. I wanted it to be warts and all. This is how it went, and I don't think it could have gone a whole lot better, really. I'm really pleased. So the rolling start was a big change, but to be fair, you know, it was quite intuitive. I've done a couple of rolling starts in the past with where the race was, you know, it didn't really matter. It was like a whatever type race. So I knew what the procedure was, but I'd never done a race that actually I really wanted to do well in. Start with a rolling start, so that was quite interesting, and I wanted to try and nail it, and I thought it actually gave a far more even start. It gave a bit more credence to the qualifying performance because you didn't gain or really lose very much at the start, whereas with a standing start you tend to, you know, you can either gain or lose far more. So in that respect, I thought the rolling start actually gave the qualifying a bit more meaning, which is quite cool. I thought for an endurance race, the AI raced pretty hard in the first few laps. I was expecting them to be, well, you know, it's an endurance race. You know, they're gonna, sorry, you know, it's an endurance class. They're gonna ease their way into it, aren't they? No, not in the slightest. No, they were on it from the word go, and I can totally see why as well. Because the guys at the front here, they've been given that gap, and now I've got to spend resources trying to close it that they didn't have to spend to gain it. And you don't realise it at the time, but the resources I'm spending here now to close that gap up, I pay for in the last 10 minutes. Because you don't, I'm using up tyres here to close that gap, to do lap times that they're not having to do, so they're all running quite cheerfully and nice and smoothly on their cars, and there's me there driving like a nutter. So you got to be up the front, and you got to stay at the front so that you can control your resource spendage. Yeah, it's a really cool way to think about racing. It's not a sprint. You got to, yeah, it's sort of like it's an efficiency class. It's really quite cool. I'm really looking forward to getting the longer races in there to really sort of add to that level of efficiency, you know, and the way you have to go racing. I'm looking forward to this. I thought there were a few moments where the AI raced, I don't know what the word is, a bit inhumanly. So they would, if they were behind me, say in the run up towards turn 4, so you're on the straight running towards turn 4, and the G55 is not very quick anyway, but even the other G55 would get a run on me because of the tow. But they would sort of get their front corner and hover it around your rear quarter panel, whereas a human would go, yeah, that's not really on that. I'm going to back off. I'm going to back out of that and sort of fall back in line. They didn't do that. They just sort of kept it there on the rear quarter and just made it a bit awkward. And at no point did I feel in mortal danger or anything like that. But it did make it. It sort of compromised you both more than it should have done. And in the end, it actually cost the other Ginetta, the red, black, and yellow Ginetta. It cost it a podium, I think, because in the last 5 laps or so, it was right with me, with a gap to the Mercs behind us. But because it raced so aggressively, we both lost a little bit of time, but it lost more time than I did, and then it fell back into the clutches of the Mercedes, and ended up finishing 5th in the end. So it ended up costing it cost itself a podium, I think, just because it was racing all or nothing. Which, all right, there are drivers that race like that, but they all seem to sort of behave in a similar sort of way. So yeah, there might be something that Razer can do with that in time. I think they've got bigger fish to fry at the moment. But yeah, I mean, but really, I haven't really got many complaints about it. I mean, there are racers that also just leave their front corner on your rear quarter, you know, as well. So I mean, there are people that do that. You know, you just have to sort of treat them with the disdain that they deserve, really. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a. So in in the test, I should probably add this little disclaimer in there. So everything that I've done so far, there are no solid conclusions really reached. It's all very much work in progress. It's all very much open for later evaluation based on new information, and what seems like a slam dunk now might almost be reversed once we know more later on. And I'm a little bit nervous that when I say something, if it's said with confidence, it's almost like a statement of fact, and it isn't necessarily a statement of fact. And I don't want to put misinformation out there, so I think I might need to have a little rethink on how I format my conclusions and how I present them. So, for example, I had a false positive when in the second test at Interlagos, I reduced the rear diff preload, and at the time it felt better. But later on, as soon as I started to experience that rear snap under the brakes when I'm trail braking, it got me thinking, oh, actually, maybe I've got that inside out on my thinking. And then I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I've just put that out there that was better, and it isn't necessarily the case. Now I'm having doubts myself, and I don't want people, thinking, well, this guy said that, so it must be true. So the diff preload, for example, it needs a thorough, in-depth test of its own, and as does the brake duct opening effect on the tyre temperatures as well. So I think I'm going to have to rethink how I present my conclusions. I think basically is what I'm getting at. And the diff preload. So the second test in the practice session for this race, where I made it tighter, or I increased it, the Newton meter value on the diff preload, it seemed to stabilise the rear of the car, especially on turn-in and on the apex. But again, it felt better, so I need to really dig into that and have a proper look at it. And if I need to break out the data acquisition side of things and look at data traces to show in data form what's happening, then that's what I'll have to learn how to do, because I don't just want to make it an opinion piece. It needs to be factual. One thing that was interesting, though, I thought, was the snap oversteer that I was getting in the trail braking phases. It seems to be down to my driving technique and my downshift timing. So I think what's happening is that when I downshift too early, the revs of the engine, it naturally revs the engine higher because you're traveling at a higher speed, and then you end up with more engine braking, essentially. So then you add more engine braking onto the already preset brake balance. You're essentially moving the brake balance rearwards, and I think it's just literally, it's quite aggressively shifting the brake balance rearwards, and then just the rear can't cope with it. So certainly it seemed to be more stable when I carried the higher gear a little bit further down, lower into the rev range, and then did the downshift whilst it was in the lower mid sort of range of the engine revs. And again, something more to learn. I don't think that really needs a full-on test day. I think that's something I can just do during races and practice sessions or qualifying or whatever. I can, if I've got another track that's got lots of trail braking, I can just try it there and see if it still does the same thing or not, and just confirm it at different places. Yeah, well, yeah, I made a note of this one. So the bonnet of the G55, it's a bit longer than a Mini, as it turns out. So I used it a couple of times, mainly on the orange Merc, but quite pleased that the car came home without any damage on it. The rear bumper got a little bit of a closer look from some of the AI cars, but nothing dodgy. No one. I mean, as I said earlier, I was in at no point did I feel like I was in mortal danger. So and I never got close to really being spun out or anything, and I didn't get close to spinning anybody else out. It was, yeah, I was quite pleased with that. For a first race, to come home without any damage, I thought was pretty cool. So the takeaways from the race, what do I think needs to be worked on? Well, I would say that the tyre wear and the drop off in lap time was higher than I would like to see for an hour race, bearing in mind that we used about 70 litres of fuel and it's 108, I think it was, litre tank. So we're what, about 2/3 of the way through the tank. Yeah, I would like to see a bit less drop off there. Now that'll be a combination of driving technique and car setup and general understanding as time goes on, but that's something that I need to work on. Now, a part of that might be, if you look at the brakes now, they're glowing, and they stay glowing for quite a while after the corner. So I might have my brake duct openings a bit too closed off. And again, that more in-depth evaluation of their effect on tyre temperature as well. So if the front brakes were running hot, then it might just be a case of very small margins over the course of a long period of time might make all the difference. So, which is why I need to reevaluate that. So need to have a look at that and just see. I'm basically going to go through the replay and watch it really closely and look at the brake temperatures and just see what they're reaching and then how long it takes for them to come back down again. And I'll then try and correlate that temperature with when the brakes stop glowing, sort of visually stop glowing, and then I'll just try and use that to gauge what sort of temperature I'm looking for, so that, yeah, all right, they're going to glow on the way in. It's not unusual for them to be glowing. That's perfectly normal, but the prolonged glowing after the corner, like now, it took a long time for the glowing to stop. So just want to try and understand that a little bit better. But I think that'll just be a case of looking at the replay, like I say, and just trying to piece it together and work out what needs to be what and where the thresholds are for them no longer glowing, and try and figure that out. Yeah, and lastly, there's a few driving errors. I'm not surprised about that. In fact, there was less in there than I thought there was going to be. But every little driving error, every little slide adds up over the course of a whole stint. It's going to be a good 90 minutes for a stint. Over the course of a stint, those little slides, even if they're little micro slides or the little lockups, you know, or the very light lockups, like, you know, within the ABS tolerances that the ABS allows, those little lockups, those little tiny slides and of the tyre over the surface, they're all going to add up. So, and they're all things that I would consider to be errors on my part. So I need to polish that. I need to round off all the rough edges and just make it really smooth. And again, one of those things that will just happen over time. I'm used to front wheel drive, real like half-hour sort of sprints, really, and very lightweight cars with the with the Copa B Mini especially. It's a very lightweight car with very big, in comparison, slicks. It's quite overtired in many aspects, so didn't really have to worry about it there. The JCW, but you're racing other JCWs, they're all in the same boat. So yeah, this is the first time I've really had to experience this and really think about it. So and it's especially important for the Ginetta because it makes all its time up in the braking and the corners, and it loses everything in the run up to the next corner, and then you get to the braking zone, and then you then make a start on clawing it back again until you get off to the next exit, you know. So it's yeah, I've got to really knuckle down on that, really focus on it, and give it time, and it will happen. Anyway, that'll do for now. I'm going to go away, give it some real thought, have a plan of attack on how I'm going to go for it, and try and figure out how I'm going to present it to you as well, the next stages. But yeah, yes, we've won this race, but it was not perfect, and there's lots of room for improvement. So yeah, never stop, never rest, just keep pushing, keep working at it, and keep rounding off those little edges. Right, thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, and until the next time, we'll see you later.